Hello, welcome to Exotic Gardening with me, Yorkshire Kris. And on this week's episode, we're going to talk about cannas, canna virus, and being wary of where you buy your cannas from. So cannas are wonderful, tropical, exotic plants grown both for their amazing blousy flowers and their huge green or variegated leaves that look very tropical in the summer and autumn months. They prefer to be having lots of water, lots of sunshine, and they grow and look fantastic in the garden, very easy to look after and relatively easy to overwinter as well. So the main issue that we can have with growing cannas is the fact that they can carry and show canna virus. I've done a video on canna virus which is made out of several different viruses combining together to show you the distinct features that this virus brings onto cannas, which are deformed flowers and leaves, browning scorch marks, broken striations and veins in the leaves, and eventually dwindling away and dying over a number of years. And it's highly transmissible, this virus, via the vector in terms of green fly sucking on one plant with the virus, flying off to another canna, feeding on the sap of that canna and then infecting that canna, so on and so on. So we don't want this virus to spread, but the issue is, unfortunately, most of the hybrids, the plants that we get from garden centres and nurseries, not all, but most, that come via Holland, a high proportion of those, not everyone, but a high proportion of those carry the canna virus. And the issue is they can look fine for a while, the cannas, grow quite well, and then slowly you'll see the effects of the virus over a year or sometimes into years 2 and year 3, but normally in the first year once you've got them. So you don't really want to buy cannas without looking at them first. So if you buy mail order, or especially if you're buying the rhizomes direct from Holland, then it's a lottery whether or not you're going to get a virus plant. And like I said, most but not all will have the virus. And once you've got that plant in your garden growing and you've got other cannas or your neighbours have got cannas, it might be too late by the time it's got into leaf, start showing the effects of the virus, and it might have spread around to other plants in your garden. So it's really important that if you get a new canna, ideally see it in person first. So you look at it, see if the leaves look healthy and it's growing strongly, and you keep it quarantined somewhere. So keep it maybe in your greenhouse or in a porch or separate to the rest of your garden, and watch it and see how it grows over a full season, and ideally into regrowth into the second season, because sometimes there's a slow process where it's dormant, the virus, before it actually shows itself and starts physical signs on the plant showing that it's ill with the virus, basically. So a lot of the hybrids, so a lot of the ones like Pretoria and Tropicana, these are the ones that are highly sought after with the variegated leaves. The hardest actually types to notice if they've got the virus straight away, because they do have that variegation. And sometimes you do get a leaf which doesn't look fantastic, but it sorts itself out after a few leaves time. These are the ones that can carry the virus and you not notice it for the longest time. Whereas if you get a plain purple leaved or plain green leaved canna, you can see the signs of the virus much earlier and it's much easier to see. But like I said, it can take time before the virus shows itself. So definitely quarantine plants if you've grown from a rhizome or you've got from a nursery or even a garden centre. Just keep it to one side and watch, see how it grows. But ideally, if you're going to buy cannas, buy them from reputable nurseries that have their own stock, that actually produce their own cannas year after year from their own stock, rather than buying in cannas. Because places where they buy them in, like normally from Holland, year after year, every single time they do that, every shipment, every delivery, it heightens the chance that it's going to bring in the virus. And like I said, predominantly most have the virus in the large nurseries where they are grown. So small independent nurseries which grow their own is probably the best way to go. Look at the plants in person so you don't see any deformed leaves or anything like that. And the other way of growing cannas successfully is to grow them from seed, because yes, the virus has been known to be transferred from the plant to seed, but it's far, far, far less likely. So if you grow it from seed, you've got more chance of having virus-free plants. So that is basically what I do now. I grow a lot from seed year after year. I do have some hybrids, I do have some plants that I've picked up over the years, but not many at all. Most of the ones I have in my garden are actually from seed, and I know, they are good, healthy, strong plants. And just a note on healthy, strong plants, because some healthy, strong plants can carry the virus for longer without showing the effects of it. Now, it might be year 2 or year 3 before you see it, where you see a slow start to growth, deformed leaves, and just not bigger in years 2, 3, and 4 that you got in the first couple of years. So some of these you might not notice straight away, but any type of canna can get the canna viruses, so be mindful of that. If you're growing them and you've got neighbours close by and they've got some cannas from the garden centres, and the chances are they could have the canna virus and it could spread with greenfly coming into your garden and other pests, that sap-sucking insects that actually go onto plants and transfer it that way as well. But it's predominantly greenfly, blackfly, etc., aphids that do this. It's not all doom and gloom, like I said. Cannas are wonderful plants, but just be wary of where you buy them from. Don't just buy them from everywhere all the time. Put them all together, because the chances are one of them probably has picked up the virus. So some people say, so why not? Why care about this? Why just grow them? And if they die after a year or so, so what? Well, the answer to that is, obviously it's more expensive to do that. It means you're not going to have a good vigorous show of flowers and leaves, because a lot of them will be showing signs of the virus after a year or so. And it's not fair for other people who want to have collections and grow their cannas, try not to have the virus in your neighborhood and nearby. So try to get virus-free stock, and hopefully over a few years, hopefully the big nurseries that produce cannas by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands, will hopefully get rid of the virus stock, just have clean stock and propagate from that. But we're some way off that at the moment, I'm afraid. So basically, the moral of this episode is choose your plants carefully, buy them in leaf rather than rhizome if you can. Segregate them, keep them to one side, and check for the signs of virus, ideally of the first year or so, and then grow from seed if at all possible for a range of different sizes and varieties of cannas. So that's canna virus. That's sort of a bit of healthcare. One thing I didn't mention was the fact that if you are cutting back flowers using secateurs, try to clean it between each plant, because you can transfer the virus, secateurs, tools from plant to plant, so you don't really want to do that. So that's my quick little video about why it's important to be careful when you're buying cannas. But obviously at the end of the day, we grow plants, we plant plants, we buy plants, we enjoy them in our gardens. So you want nice healthy plants and ones that can look good year after year after year. And cannas, because of their beautiful exotic flowers and leaves, are highly sought after, easy to grow, and great for the exotic jungle style garden. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Garden UK. Join me next week while we're doing more in the garden.